Hey, what's going on,
Hey
guys?
guys, welcome back.
We're back.
Yes.
After a short hiatus, we have returned to you guys.
Yeah, you guys didn't know because we worked ahead, because we love you. But yeah, I went on vacation, so we haven't watched The West Wing for 2 weeks, heading into the season two finale, which
Yeah,
is the next two episodes here get us through the season. So that wasn't easy to do, but we did it out of love for you.
yeah.
But
You went on vacation and SAG striked.
yeah, I'm sorry guys.
Yeah.
Uh,
Now that he's back, maybe we can,
yeah.
get movies again.
Hey, by the way, let's go ahead and pay the writers and the actors.
Maybe not use AI.
Right?
That's a separate video we might make later on.
And how about the simple fact that they're not getting paid for any of their residuals for streaming when everybody watches everything on streaming is really messed up?
I saw something that said one of the writers of She-Hulk, the residual check was $396.
See, that's infuriating. Sorry, we're off topic.
We're off topic. We can make a video about that down the
We
road.
should we should
We
make a
should
video about what our thoughts on
everything right
on
now that's
everything.
happening. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, these executives and when you look at executive pay, CEO pay at these companies and stuff, it's insane.
To be an executive.
Right. That is the end game. But at any rate, West Wing, which is a show we are absolutely loving. This has been such a superior television season.
Yeah,
Um,
it hasn't slowed down in the slightest. I feel
no,
like season
we've
two is
been
a strong
building.
improvement.
How do you build a 22 episode season like this to where it just keeps ratcheting up? But it has.
It's like a ladder. It really is. Each episode in this season has felt important.
Yeah,
Even the one off episodes, sort of.
like Ellie. Ellie was kind of a one off
Yeah,
episode that was still really important as far as the dynamic that we're heading to with
Bartlett.
Bartlett.
Yeah,
Bartlett is the focus right now without being the focus. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Because we're heading to clearly we're heading to dealing with the revelation of the MS to the world, and he's going to be under so much scrutiny. But I love how they're building this show and how because it's just Aaron Sorkin being Aaron Sorkin.
Yeah.
It's everything's being is building to it, but it's the troops on the front line. They're going to have to be the ones fighting the fight.
They're taking the
It's
big
his,
one.
it's his, it's his wife. It's Josh. It's
Toby.
obviously CJ and
CJ is the big
Toby.
one.
And
I'm
yeah, and these
really curious to see that. Yeah.
yeah, and these guys all know that the fight that's coming is going to be yeah. Thanks, doing this in my shoulder,
Yeah.
that sweet shoulder. But the fight that's coming is not just going to involve Bartlett, even though it's really kind of Bartlett's fight.
The whole
That's
team.
just the nature of the job as it's structured when you serve a president.
Yeah.
Of
Uh,
course, Bartlett's going to have to fight too. And how do you think he's going to do?
I don't know, like, because they are very. It's obviously Aaron Sorkin, so everybody is very well spoken, but Bartlett especially, I feel like he gets a lot of the best lines of the show.
Oh, he's been brilliant this season.
I feel like he's gonna have to persuade a lot of people.
He is,
They're gonna have to wheel and deal
and I
and
yeah,
fight their way out.
and I think that he's going to have to fight against some of his natural instincts
Yeah,
in the Ellie episode, which kind of feels like a one-off episode,
yeah,
but there's an important moment where they're talking about Ellie and the Surgeon General, I can't remember her name, says you've been the king of every room you've walked into for her entire life,
yeah.
and I feel like that's what we're seeing with him, right? When he had the fight with Toby about the MS, it's like Bartlett's got to not be the king in this moment.
He imploded.
He imploded. He's
Yeah,
got to be a guy who's willing to say I was wrong, and he's just hasn't really seemed to have been that guy
look,
ever.
nobody likes to say I was wrong,
Right? Oh,
let
of
alone the
course.
president of the United States.
Publicly,
Yeah,
publicly say you're wrong.
yeah.
Sure.
But I like that you brought up Ellie because that's a great example of a perfect episode of the show in the sense that like
Yeah.
it's kind of not important, but in many ways it is because one, it introduces you to a new character who
Sure.
we've heard about but we've never seen,
Right.
obviously Bartlett's daughter, and it not only spends the time fleshing her out, it fleshes more of him out. You know what I mean?
That's
Like
what I'm saying. Yeah,
it
we really
builds
got.
his character
Yeah,
out.
we got to see a lot of his baser flaws in
Yeah,
that episode,
and
right?
I love everything about the show. I don't want to like crap on it at all. The least interesting part of the show to me now is the troops. The most engaging part of the show for me is the Bartlett subplot right now, whereas the Josh, the CJ stuff,
Oh, right.
I enjoy it,
Oh
I
God,
love
for a
it.
second I thought the troop like soldiers.
No, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
like Josh and she,
Right.
I love their characters. I just every time we're watching them on screen, I'm like, all right, let's go back to Bartlett. You know what I mean? but
You
I
know what?
appreciate what they're building out with it, though.
That is a big difference with this season and last season. Last
Yeah.
season, the focus was 90% on the support staff,
Yeah.
right? It was the advising team.
Yeah.
Was really the focus of the show. And this season started off the same way. And through Noel, we were still there, right?
Yep.
Great episode.
Yes.
But then we slowly started to shift in that Bartlett has become more and more and more of the focus of the show.
He's ostensibly the lead now.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
really is.
and he hasn't been previously.
Which, that was the most interesting part of season 1. You have a show about the West Wing, and the president is a side character.
Yeah, for sure. It's like the nuts and bolts of making the sausage, right?
Exactly.
And
Exactly. That's how the
instead of
sausage is made.
instead
Yeah.
of instead of following the main guy for the most part. We've mentioned this before, and it's pretty well known at this point that Martin Sheen was never supposed to be the star of the show. It was never supposed to
Yeah.
be about him, but he's so freaking good in the role.
He's amazing.
And I think this second half of this season, you can really see where Sorkin is like
Yeah.
giving Martin Sheen more of the reins of the show
Yeah.
because he's so good.
And he deserves it. He's one of the actors from the 70s. Like, you have your De Niro's, your Pacinos, your Hoffmans.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that Martin Sheen has lived on past that because he found a show like The West Wing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. From Apocalypse Now, right?
To TV.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great that he can actually, like, he really gets a chance to flex more than those actors do, because if you think about it, we see more, because Pacino, De Niro, Hoffman, they show up in movies, every 4 years, every
Right,
2
right,
years,
yeah.
whereas he's doing 22 episodes of a TV series
Yeah.
weekly. That's a lot of TV.
Yeah.
That's a lot of performing. And he's great every single time.
And he still did a lot of film.
He did. Yeah, he did.
I mean,
Yeah.
not a lot of starring roles, a lot of support work.
Yep.
But I mean, let's face it. On this, you see him in Apocalypse Now, and he's brilliant,
Yeah.
right? And
Badlands, anything from the 70s.
yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And now then you get to West Wing, and you get reminded, like, oh yeah,
This is one of the
Martin
greatest.
Sheen is a great actor.
He's one of the best ever.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want to forget, 15, 20 years later, that Martin Sheen is a great actor.
He's got a screen presence that it's almost unmatched. Really, he's so captivating every time he's on screen.
Yeah.
You can't take your eyes off him.
And he certainly killed it in this role. All right, guys. Again, I was gone. We haven't recorded for 2 weeks, so there's
We got a list here.
going to be some names here. I'm going to read them as fast as I can, and I'm going to butcher some of them. Some of you don't have easy names. You're right. I'll say, so we do want to welcome to Patreon Bjorn Hansen, Isa Caroline, Yolanda Ntombi, Matthew Williams, Gina Aman, Jenna Amen, Judge Brihon, Anurang Bajafali, Mia, Nell, John Valklev, Charity Jalapeno, Jaco Linikangas, Natasha, Steve, Maya, Vale, and Julia Kazumano. So sorry for every one of those I got wrong, which was probably a lot. But thank you so much for welcoming, guys. We really do appreciate you being here very much.
Honestly, Kevin reading the names out and trying to get the names pronounced, best part of my day. It's the best.
Only because I suck so marvelously at it.
A lot of you guys are just making more accounts with like hard names just to hear it pronounced.
Let's see this all go off the rails. But yeah, thanks. We really do appreciate being here, guys.
You guys are the best. And if you're watching this on YouTube for the first time, welcome to our channel.
Hello.
If you don't mind, hit the like button for us. Leave us a comment down below, and please, please, please hit the subscribe button so you can stay up to date with all of our new content we have coming your way.
Absolutely. If you'd like to see flowing through reactions to this episode of The West Wing and all of them and everything else we're watching, please check out the link in the description below to our Patreon page. You will need to bring your own copy to sync and watch along with us on your own device, on your own streaming or service or whatever that you have. We have
still an issue.
Right. I have accidentally not blocked out the show before and tried to load it up onto Patreon, and it was instantly blocked. For copyright purposes, we can only see and hear us. So you'll have to watch along with us. That's why we do a countdown at the beginning of the episode, so you can sync and go and watch the show with us.
Until we own the rights.
Until we own the rights. Until we buy HBO.
You know what?
A few days away.
We'll step up. We'll end the strike.
Exactly right. We'll start paying our writers what they should be paid.
Told her she was coming out to do some polling on subsurface agriculture.
What the hell is that?
Okay, so talking about Joey
Vegetables
Lucas.
that grow underground. Want to start not trusting Josh? Let's go.
Oh, so Bartlet's starting off in a bad headspace here.
Basement.
Yeah.
Why? Plus, there's no way to factor existing approval numbers, particularly when it comes to matters of trust. Sagittarius.
I like this set.
Let's get started.
A lot of cloak and dagger with this.
Do you agree that it's okay for the governor to lie about his health? 17% agree, 83% disagree. 74% believe MS to be fatal.
Huh.
Oh,
They may
so
be
it's an
right.
education problem.
65% of those describing themselves as liberal aren't going to vote for you because you lied.
Well, this is a tough place to start from on a re-election
So-
campaign.
That was kind of a chilling open. I
Yeah.
like that there was, top lit, very dark.
And direct in a dark
Yeah,
basement.
We saw that
Yeah.
coming, right?
What good
Big time.
filmmaking to just set that in a dark basement too, that really dark moment.
You're literally at the bottom.
Yeah.
Citing improper permits, Colonel Bazan's soldiers surrounded Carrefour Liberté.
Liberty Square.
Soldiers have surrounded the house of the Chief Justice.
So it's a coup.
They're saying to protect him from death threats.
Where's the president-elect?
Sir, we can't find him.
I'm sorry?
At this moment, we can't find Dessalines.
Evacuate the non-essentials. Get some Marines at the embassy. And somebody brief Fitzwallace.
Why not a presidential address? 10, 15 minutes. I have this illness. I concealed it. I apologize.
That's the best way to do it. I think Sam's right.
It's not too cold.
He needs to be with the First Lady.
Some decorative room. Sitting with his wife weakens him. Isn't a smart reporter going to ask, Mr. President, are you planning on seeking re-election?
Ted Baxter is going to ask, Mr. President, are you planning on
Right.
seeking re-election?
Yeah. Anybody's gonna ask that.
Right.
Yeah.
Is she in a car?
package?
Yeah.
Tow package?
To tow your
Why would she need 6 speakers and a subwoofer? She's 70 years old.
What about a cab?
I would love that.
Miss Landingham's picking up a new car today.
Really?
Yes, and I wish I hadn't told anyone. Why do men think women can't buy a car without a man?
It's an old stereotype. Did you get the tow package? See?
He's in his office.
If you don't tow anything, you don't need a tow package. I don't have a tow package.
That's part of
I
the
don't
retirement
tow
plan.
anything.
She's gonna
Yeah.
start towing cars around here.
Right.
Justice has 31 lawyers and staff. Tobacco has 1,893 lawyers. The ranking minority member.
Ritter.
Talk to him and find out what the problem is.
Yeah.
Problem is that Ritter probably gets checks from the tobacco company for
Yeah, probably.
for this campaign fund.
What is Peter Brack doing down there?
He went down for the inauguration. And he may well have Dessalines in the trunk of his car.
In the trunk of his car?
Yes, sir.
This is an internal affair in Haiti, and the U.S. has no place choosing sides.
Of course we're choosing sides. There was a free election. Mr. President, there will never be real elections in Haiti if the military thinks it can simply kill the winner. Also, I'd like to...
Press corps
That's
won't
true.
panel themselves as a grand jury.
Then let him, CJ. We did something wrong or we didn't.
Well, fantastic, Sam. I didn't realize it was that simple.
You got to feel for these guys because they're in a position of defending something that was wrong that they didn't do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm not jealous of their position at all.
No. It's like we had to get up there and apologize and come up with a way to work out of a horrible situation that we didn't cause.
At all. They had
Yeah.
no idea.
They have no idea it was even happening.
And if he is not going to run, then he has got to point to Hoynes and say, this is our guy.
They need the money to continue the case.
I know.
Has the chairman scheduled a vote?
He's not gonna.
How much tobacco money is he taking?
Exactly.
Last
There it
campaign.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
460,000 in tax.
Has to be one, and we're fighting it with paper clips and a slingshot.
We were wondering when you guys were gonna notice.
8 years ago, the president was diagnosed with MS. He concealed it during the election, but this is what
Reaction.
Josh is going to be working on 24 hours, and he's going to need your help, and he's going to need you to know. And so I'm telling you.
Is the president in a lot of pain or discomfort right now?
Oh my gosh, she's so sweet.
Okay.
Tell me how
Yeah.
much you pay below sticker.
I didn't pay anything below sticker.
What do you mean?
In my own defense, I didn't pay anything above sticker either. No, but it means I'm not allowed to accept gifts of a certain value.
It's not a gift.
Of course it is. And the dealer is giving it to me for something less.
They give it to everybody
That's
for
what happens
something
when you
less.
buy a car.
Not me.
Yeah. She's such a sweetheart.
She's a nice old lady.
Yeah, I love her.
Embassy Marines aren't lawn jockeys. They're not decorative. They're trained and restrained. They're taking the embassy.
Is one option recognizing the Bazan government?
There is no Bazan government.
Yeah, but is one option being...
You're not taking me there, Mike.
CJ?
She's having a rough
Yeah.
Is he here?
2 seasons.
She took me in through the basement.
Yeah.
Is he about to be told too?
Been in this building 200 or 300 times, never came in through the basement.
I need 30 minutes night after tomorrow.
CJ,
Oh,
what
this
the
is
hell
the
are you
news.
guys planning for Haiti?
Yeah.
What am I supposed to tell my news director?
Tell him it's your network.
It's not my network. It belongs to a company that belongs to stockholders. Is the water over your head?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. The water's exactly up my head.
People who start smoking and get addicted to nicotine are too stupid to live?
No. I'm saying they're too stupid to be protected by the courts.
To say nothing of the CEOs being the last 7 people on Earth to
Yeah,
discover
the big
that
seven.
nicotine
Yeah,
was
the
a
7
drug.
dwarfs. Yep.
Your administration.
I think Sam's mad that he's been lied to by these guys.
He's definitely irritated.
What
Yeah.
we're talking about is 30 minutes with an interviewer, Mrs. Bartlett.
Dr. Bartlett.
Yeah,
I
she
love
is a
that.
doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, good for her. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Wing, I love
You
it.
shot
Yeah.
3 Haitian soldiers on the runway.
They boarded the plane?
Ground traffic control stopped the plane. 2 staff sergeants in the bulkhead had a clear shot and took them. They dumped the bodies on the tarmac and made an emergency takeoff.
You're right, you know. I should be bringing them in on re-election. I should be talking to them.
Yeah.
I don't want to make the same mistakes over again. The definition of gift excludes opportunities and benefits, including favorable rates and commercial discounts available to the public at large. Dolores, have you ever had a new car?
No.
Come back here after you pick it up. I'd like to talk to you about something.
Yes, sir.
And put
Oh,
the
he's
car
gotta
in the
tell her
driveway.
now.
I'd like
Yeah.
to kick the tires.
I want you to get your own lawyer.
I have my own lawyer.
Pat's a family lawyer. I want you to get someone for this because I don't think you should answer questions without a lawyer.
Sam said they're not going to get into issues of legality.
I don't know how they're going to avoid it.
Oliver,
The AMA's code of ethics pretty well spells out the egregiousness of treating your own family members.
we do it anyway. I'd like to be next to my husband when he does this.
I'd like you to get your own lawyer.
You don't think
Thank
she's
you,
going to
Dr.
lose her medical license over this?
I didn't even consider that.
See, this is why I'll never have a career as a
Done what?
Sagittarius.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah, she knows the code word. Yeah.
We're firming up strategy on what will define the future of this presidency, and we don't know if this president is interested in the future. Warren and Rossiter are voting against. They have ideological problems with the case.
We're not going to stop. Soften, detour, postpone, circumvent, obfuscate.
And that's followed by a press conference.
There isn't another step we can take until we know what the president's intentions are. We need a discussion.
There was an accident at 18th and Potomac. Mrs. Landingham was driving her car back here.
What?
Charlie Shaw, right?
No. She's dead.
Oh my God. What?
Her first new car. Oh my God. I was wondering why this was called 18th and Potomac. How does this impact everything? That is so awful.
That's so cruel. She just got her first. I love
She's-
Mrs. Landingham
I
so
know.
much. Why would they do that?
Yeah, we'll have a talk about that when we're done on why. I mean, I get why, but
All right, that last shot really got me there. It was a powerful moment. They tell him without seeing his reaction.
okay. To answer the big
Oh my God.
that is horrible.
Her first. That's
She was so, that,
that's
of
the
course,
saddest
of
thing
course,
in
the
her
writing
life.
set up right. Sorkin, you monster, because
car,
everyone's
yeah.
it's so sweet and so innocent and so wholesome that she's getting her first car, and then that's the outcome. That's the
I need a second.
that is a terrible outcome. But
They killed Mrs. Landingham. I can't believe it. And this is already an episode where
so much horrible is on the so many rain clouds on the horizon, and I think that's why.
there's kicking you when you're down, and there's this. Oh my God.
Well, it's definitely going to kick Bartlett. That's going to hurt him more than anybody, and I think that's kind of the point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think he's in this state of limbo as far as the why, as why do it, and especially why do it now, is he's in this state of limbo over his future, right? And I think this thing he has to face now, right,
Yeah.
is going to inform or alter or decide how he moves forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because I think what we've had going here with him and with his wife especially is kind of a woe is me, I'm about to be in trouble for this thing, and obviously this is a much bigger issue than am I going to be president or not, right? This is the death of somebody that
We love
a great person. Yeah, this is the death
a
of
really good
this
person.
this is a great person whose life ends in tragedy, which is a because of a drunk driver. That's so freaking brutal. Um, coming back to the White House in her new car.
He told her to come back too.
Yeah,
He told her to come back. That's horrible. I just realized that's horrible. That is horrible. Oh man, Bartlett. Oh man.
but I mean, I think that this puts things into perspective for him going forward. I think that's why you do it.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I don't. We have the finale left.
What a setup for a finale. Oh my
Right,
God.
because we haven't seen the we've got an announcement coming. We've got the meeting coming where he's going to decide whether or not he's going to run again, and we assume because of the length of the run of the show that the answer is yes, I'm going to run again. We don't know
Yeah.
how he
Well,
gets there.
just spoiler. We have to know that now, right? Because there's 7 seasons of the
That's
show.
what I'm saying,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
With the length of the show, we know he's we're 99.9% sure that the presidency continues into another term.
It's the one
But
downside of
I
this.
right, I feel like what just happened with Mrs. Landingham is going to play into that pretty largely over the idea of what's really important. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of putting things in perspective. Um,
Okay, so do you think that the next episode we pick up immediately, or do you think that we cut to the interview? Because I
I
think
don't know.
I don't know either.
I wouldn't be surprised if we cut to the interview. I wouldn't be surprised if we cut to after the interview.
That's kind of what I'm
You know what I
thinking.
mean?
I'm
Like
kind of yeah.
we may be at a funeral a day after the interview, and we just because we talked so much about what the interview was going to be and what it wasn't going to be.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's necessary to show it.
It's not pertinent to show it. Yeah, I mean the thing
You know what I
is,
mean? Like
yeah,
we already know exactly how the interview is going to go.
they kind of laid out all the scenarios,
Right.
so and the show does a lot of show and tell, but at the
Because it's
same
a lot of
time,
prep. Because I mean,
yeah,
it's the natural prep work of the job that
yeah,
they're doing.
yeah.
It's politics. Politics is prep work.
I kind of want to see the interview, but at the same time, I understand if we don't.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if
Yeah.
we don't. I would wager more money that we're going to see Mrs. Landingham's funeral. If I had to bet on one of those
I
two
want to see
things,
that.
yeah, if one of the two things was going to happen, we'd see her funeral before we'd see that interview,
Yeah.
because we know how that interview is going to go. But I think the impact of the death of Mrs. Landingham, I mean, it hit me hard.
Yeah.
It clearly hit you hard.
Yeah.
I can't imagine, what it's going to do to
The rest of the cast.
to the characters on the show, especially Jed Bartlet.
Yeah. I'm sure he's going to feel a lot of guilt in her death. Not that it's his fault.
No,
the
he's
same
told her
way.
to drive her car back. Yeah,
And that's it.
yeah.
But still,
The guilty one is the drunk driver that hit her.
absolutely. And regardless, you would think that Bartlett's going to feel that. I mean, he's a human, you know what I mean?
Right.
And like he
Well,
obviously had a lot of care for her.
Yeah, exactly. Regardless of if there's any guilt, I don't think guilt is an issue. I think it's more the tragedy of the loss
Yeah.
and the grief is what's coming. And I think that there's going to be wavering on whether or not he's going to run again.
Yeah.
And I think what happened there with Mrs. Landingham was what's going to push him over the
do it.
top to do it.
Well,
I think I could be wrong, but I think that's got to be the catalyst, right? That's why
gotta
you do
be.
it now.
It's got to be. I mean,
Right.
Here's the downside of the show. When this was airing, obviously people had no idea they're going to
Right.
bring another cast member to be the next president.
You could. I mean, you could have kept this going forever, right?
Exactly. And with this, obviously, we know 7 seasons of the show is going
Right.
to be Martin Sheen. So I'm more interested now to learn about the fallout from Mrs. Landingham than I am. I mean, I'm still curious about how they're going to handle the MS
Sure.
situation, obviously. But at the same time, it's like now, first and foremost, I want to see Mrs. Landingham how this ends up.
I agree, and the reason I think you're right there, and I agree with that, is because I think that's what we're gonna do with the next episode. I think the next episode's more of that, and I think, yeah, we'll get a "we're gonna run again" moment, right?
Yep.
We're gonna get that. We have to. Well, I mean, this show does like to end in cliffhangers. Maybe we won't.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, who knows?
I feel like a large part of next season is going to be the re-election, and the MS is going to be something that gets brought up again and again and again and again as he's moving forward into re-election.
It's too big of an issue for them to just drop it all of a
There's
sudden.
no way. Yeah, it's gonna be a central part of the campaign.
Exactly. I think the next season will be all about the re-election, and
I think so too.
And him still trying to overcome the MS situation.
Right.
And it's so interesting that like I said earlier, Sorkin started off his whole MS storyline with it just kind of being a throwaway episode,
Right.
and then him realizing
There's
how
stuff
dire
to mine out there.
MS
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
and so he kind of wrote himself into a corner. And brilliantly, it gave him a whole season to deal with.
Yeah.
Or at least most of the season.
Gave him something new to write about.
Because I'm trying to think, this whole season hasn't specifically been about the MS, but
It's been there. It's
at
definitely
least
been
half
there.
of the season.
It became an issue when he got shot in the assassination attempt, right?
Yes.
With the at the hospital before surgery.
Mm.
That's when it really became an issue.
Yeah.
And then the decision whether or not to rerun or for re-election with Abby.
Yeah.
So
A lesser show would have just dropped it. And then all of a sudden, the president's just magically better. You know what I mean? Like a lesser show would not address it again. It would just be an underlying issue the president has. But because this is the West Wing, I like that they take issues that don't seem like a big deal at first,
Right.
and then you get 7 episodes out of it, you get 8 episodes out of it, and then you don't just have that. It's a pile. It's a pile of different obstacles they have to overcome, and it's brilliant. And then you lay the cherry on top, which might sound morbid, the Mrs. Landingham situation.
Yeah,
That's
I think
another
I think
pile.
yeah, I think that's the massive dynamic shift for
Mhm.
the show going into
Mhm.
next season. I know it's the re-election. I know it's educating the public about the MS thing,
Yeah.
but I think that there's going to be a shift in President Bartlett
Yeah.
because of it. I don't think there's any way around it because of the timing, right? You could have had that moment, that horrible moment, anywhere in 7 seasons,
Mhm.
and you have it now when he's on the episode where he has to decide if he's going to run again or not.
Yeah.
I think the two are married for a reason.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to see what that looks like
There's
going
no way they're
forward.
not.
Right.
You don't just do that to
Just
do
to
that.
do right is
That's
is a
pretty.
plot
That would
turn.
just be
Yeah.
cruel.
Right.
Because she was. Look, we didn't see a lot of her this season,
We didn't get a lot of it this season.
and that makes that even more painful. Because
Right.
she's always such a great presence on the show.
Yeah.
But I mean, that would just be cruel. That
Right.
because like it kind of came out of nowhere.
The setup was so good with the excitement, and it was
God.
it was like that was her getting that car was the light moment of the episode throughout. That was the light storyline.
Was the one light at the
That
end
was
of the
the
tunnel.
light storyline, and it ends up being the most tragic.
I'm
Well
still,
done, Aaron Sorkin, you freaking monster. You
you
knows how to
are an
toy
a-hole.
toy knows how to toy with my emotions.
I know. And
That's just good writing, man. There's
what
no way around it. That's just
also,
good writing.
do you think the tobacco thing is going to come back at all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no way. I mean, this has already been multiple episodes, and we spent more time on it now than any other point. I think it's going to come to a head too. And I think it's also possible, like I said, we may see an angrier Jed Bartlett with things in perspective because of
Yeah.
the death of Mrs. Landingham, where he
It's
goes,
going to light a fire.
that's what I'm saying. It may be him saying, coming out in screw you mode,
Yeah.
on a lot of things. And I think re-election is one, and I think the tobacco thing is another one.
Also, it's just so interesting we're dealing with the tobacco thing because the Insider was a movie they made about it, which was in '95. This is 2001, I think. So we're
Was
6.
95 The Insider? Was it that? I thought it was a little later.
No,
I could
95
be
was
wrong.
Heat. You're right. I'm sorry, Michael Mann.
I thought it was like 98, 99.
It might have been 2000, 2001, actually. Now
Yeah,
that I think
they're
about it.
about,
Okay, yeah.
I think the timing is pretty close.
99, I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
because Gladiator was 2000. Russell Crowe's nominated.
You're
90.
right.
Yeah,
So
okay.
99. Yeah, you're right.
But still, we're a couple years removed from that. It's interesting that, like, with that big blow up of the tobacco companies, that we're still dealing with that. Obviously, today it reads different.
Right.
I mean, they made the argument, oh yeah, if they're stupid enough to buy it.
Right.
Well, it's like you can maybe make the argument today, but it's like no. I mean, for the most part, the tobacco company lies to you. They lie to you a
Yeah.
lot.
Well, it's like the opioid companies now that we're dealing
Yes.
with that. Like,
It's-
well, no one told you to become a drug addict. No, you just told us we all needed these pills,
Yeah.
right? And then people got hooked on them, couldn't get refills, and found a cheaper replacement in heroin.
Exactly.
You can blame the people if you want, but
You're the one peddling it.
you're the one peddling it, man.
Yeah. And watch The Insider if you guys want to know more about this whole crisis. It's a fantastic movie. They do it kind of like a political thriller, but it's
Right.
about this whistleblower that comes.
Russell Crowe and Al Pacino are both amazing in it.
And it's all about this one guy who kind of blew the lid off the whole thing,
Right.
and got into a lot of trouble over it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, the power of the non-disclosure agreement. All right, guys. Great episode, and we really can't wait for the next one. That'll be the finale with a lot that I expect to happen in that one. That'll affect what we do moving forward.
R.I.P. Miss Landingham.
Yeah. Oh my God. All right, we'll catch you in the next one, guys.
See ya.